This is Beyond the Cot, a weekly podcast connecting the packs of F3 Knoxville and beyond through invigorating male community leadership, through fitness, fellowship, and faith.
Avengers!
Assemble.
38 school zone.
School zone. 34 strip.
40 kickflip. 56 high heels.
High heels, respect. 37 trunk.
The F3 Knoxville Beyond the Cot podcast starts right now.
Welcome to the Beyond the Cot podcast. This is your weekly launch point episode. I am Steam, the comms Q for F3 Knoxville. And like always, with me, I have, you know him as the man, the myth, the legend. Not the second FQ, not the third FQ, the first FQ. You know and love him, Onstar.
What's up, everyone? Arthur GS35 Onstar here, first FQ. And excited to be here for another week, another great week starting where we can beat ourselves down in the gloom, in the flake gloom, and keep getting better and pushing ourselves.
That's right. Well, welcome to the weekly launch point, where this part of the podcast, or this episode of the podcast on Mondays, is going to be where we launch into the week, talk about some things that we have coming up this week, look back at a really awesome convergence that we had this past Saturday. We're going to talk a lot about that here in a few minutes, but we're going to talk a little bit about the QSource first. We go through the newsletter that our Nantan Kickflip sends out every week, and it has a bunch of great stuff in there, such as events that are coming up, updates, initiatives, things to challenge and encourage you as a F3 guy here at Knoxville or beyond, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, relationally, and all three F's: fitness, fellowship, and faith, in your sphere of influence. So we're going to start off by going into the Q point from the QSource, and this week we are talking about targeting. So this is Q point 2.7, and it is over targeting. And so three things to think about when it comes to targeting. Can a man live right without being pointed in any particular direction? Is there a peace that surpasses all human understanding? And is there a particular tempo required to live right? And all this is really focusing around this idea of initiating missionality in others. Onstar, any just initial thoughts on this as we kind of get into not the whole QSource content, but just initial overview thoughts?
Yeah. The whole thing of targeting is essential for not just for men, but to live life right. The whole idea of getting it right. If you think there's always something that has fascinated me on the translation on the Bible is that the word used for sin is hamarta, which means in Greek to miss the mark, meaning to be off target. So to sin is to be off target, to be not focused on your target. So it's a very challenging thing just to think about it, to think that you need to constantly be intentional. You need to know where you're going. You need to keep that in mind and not let yourself drift away. And it's something that can be very daunting, but it's the only way to grow. It's the only way to... Can a man live right without being pointed in any particular direction? I don't think so, because you're drifting. You're just letting life take you wherever. So,
yeah, those are really good thoughts. This is so every QSource content and point that we go over, it has a post on f3nation.com. If you did not know that, it's in the email. But it is really rich in content and depth, and so it's a lot to read and a lot to take in, but it's really thought provoking, and so there's a lot here. And so when it comes to initiating missionality in others, you think about F3, and we'll just talk about the sphere of influence in F3. When you initiate missionality in others, what you're essentially doing is you are targeting something that is hardwired, or something that's a specific person has inside them to serve and lead and grow others. And you're helping them initiate that in their own lives. And so there's three things that are really going to be a overview of this. So number one, missionality is an essential virtue. It's an essential virtue. We all hopefully strive to be on mission or have some type of mission in this world. So we're not, just like you said, Onstar, drifting from one place to the other. So missionality is an essential virtue. Number two, targeting moves a man beyond himself. So targeting moves a man beyond himself. One thing that we say in F3 when it comes to specifically the faith portion, right? F3 is not a Christian organization, not a one religion organization, right? There are probably the vast majority of us in F3 Knoxville, to some degree, aligned with a Christian, Judeo-Christian, evangelical type of faith, right? To some degree, but that's not a requirement at all. But the whole thing of the third F is you're not living for yourself. You realize or have some recognition of you're not living just for yourself. And so targeting moves a man beyond himself and focuses his line of sight, his missionality to look at others and how he can serve and lead others rather than just to serve himself. And then number three, a targeted man moves in relational rhythm. So a targeted man moves in relational rhythm. What this is essentially going to get into when you read this Q point is that rhythm is really important in our physical endeavors, right? If I say I'm going to work out tomorrow morning and then work out tomorrow morning, but then don't really have any resolve or discipline or rhythm to do that again until the next week, next Monday, I'm probably not going to see a lot of growth from that. There has to be a relational rhythm, and the relational part comes with that, with being in intentional community, like through the context of intentional community, to have that rhythm. And so when you think about these things, think about your own physical fitness, your own fellowship and relationships as it relates to your sphere of influence, your own faith, and how that works in and through your life. And think about, once again, these three questions. Can a man live right without being pointed in any particular direction? Is there a peace that surpasses all human understanding? And is there any particular tempo required to live right? You can find all of this content and more in the QSource. This is Q point 2.7, and it talks about initiating missionality to others. Awesome.
All right. Moving on now to our T-Claps of the week. The first T-Claps these week are very special because they're related to the guys who did an absolutely phenomenal job in hosting the summer convergence. It's the guys from the Shamrock AO. Plenty of men helped do this, helped pull this off. Among them, Betty, Baby Boomer, Caveman, Commission, Curry, Anchorman, Eliza, Honeydew, Mermaid, Slappy, Tailhook, Voodoo, Butterknife. All these guys really killed it. Commission went above and beyond by providing the cinnamon roll bar. That's and right. Making sure that we replenished all of the calories we lost throughout the workout. But these guys did an amazing job. The convergence was great. I believe it was if we don't count the Cardinal impromptu convergence, I think it was the largest convergence yet for F3 Knoxville, wasn't it? With 100 men.
Yeah, dude, we had over 100 guys, I think, at the time we ended. So it was huge. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was just amazing. You were playing a reporter there. You were pretty much running from place to place, covering it. How was it like for you? How was the whole experience? What did you think it was like?
I love convergences just because it's such a event full of energy, and you get guys from all around F3 Knoxville that maybe you've worked out with once or twice, or maybe you work out with every week at your AO, right? But there's just such an energy. Guys are just excited to be there. These guys had it planned out to the nines. I mean, it was incredible. And so they were running around campus, and myself and some of our other videographers, photographers, and I say that well under the, I'm not a professional. Like I am not a photographer at all. I just have a phone with a camera. So that's about the extent of my photography skills. Yeah. But Cornhole, Median, and Mud Puppy, those guys are actually Like they know what they're doing, right? They have the equipment. They are very talented and skilled and gifted in capturing moments and in capturing some awesome content from these events. So shout out to those guys. But honestly, it was really fun just walking around or rucking or running around these different groups, seeing what they were doing, seeing guys struggle, seeing guys, share a sweaty fist bump and hey man, you got this, or really push each other physically to get better. And so, it was just a really, really cool time to see that kind of behind the scenes.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I got to say, the guys you mentioned, Cornhole, Media, Mud Puppy, have done a fantastic job. The photos look amazing. Median is, how old is he? He is, what, 16, 17?
Yeah, he's a 2.0.
Right.
And so he comes out and photographs a lot of our big events and has done a lot of great content for our website, actually. So head over to f3knoxville.com. You'll see some of his handiwork with the content he's put up on our website too.
Yeah.
He's a young, I'm not sure how young he is, but a younger guy and just, is on fire for F3 and super mature for his age. Awesome.
He's killing it. Yeah. And I had an opportunity at the end. I grabbed Betty, who kind of spearheaded the whole initiative and with the guys at Shamrock, and I recorded a brief clip with him that you guys can listen to now, talking a little bit about how was planning the convergence and how did he feel after completing it. So we can listen to that now.
Okay, Betty, so we're here past the F3 Knoxville convergence at Shamrock. So tell me, how long have you guys been planning this?
We created a channel in Slack, and we've been probably talking about it for about a month. So we had about 10 guys involved, 15 guys involved, and everybody helped in their own ways. And really, I didn't have to do a whole lot.
Okay.
Everybody just pitched in, and we all did it together.
Okay, so you managed to bring 100 guys here together, which I think is the F3 Knoxville record so far.
Oh, no.
So how do you feel about it? How do you feel it went?
I'm so grateful everybody came, and I think it went off. It showed that that all the guys planned, and that it went off without a hitch. So it was awesome.
All right, so now you guys have the ghost flag?
Yes, we do.
You guys are kicking that off. Are you ready to have guys here on Monday?
I'm ready, and it's going to be a gnarly tiebreaker.
All right. So what would you say as advice for Wedding Singer and the guys at Big Ball who are going to be planning the next convergence?
Oh, I don't know if I have any advice for them. They've been around longer than me. This was my first convergence. Plus the planning of it. So I don't know if I have any. They probably are going to put on a way better convergence than we could have.
I don't know. This was pretty good, man. You put together a great, grueling workout for all of us.
Yeah.
Great breakfast. Amazing word by Rick.
Yes, it was awesome.
So this has been great. So it was your first convergence and you were already planning
first convergence, yep. Yeah, and I'm just super proud of all the Shamrock guys, and thank you to Commission for the cinnamon rolls. They were delicious.
Yeah.
And then Curry did a lot to help us get the facilities, and then the core group of guys from Shamrock that helped plan. They just made it all happen.
All right, man.
It's awesome.
Thank you for putting this together.
Yeah.
This has been a lot of fun. And that's it. See you in the gloom.
Awesome. See you in the gloom.
All right, so getting back to the rest of our T-Claps, we've already talked about the guys who killed it at the convergence, both the guys who organized it, again, Commission for the amazing breakfast, and all the guys that took the pictures and videos. And now let's move on to the FNG of the week, because I think it's becoming a habit to have T-Claps for an FNG, and that's awesome.
We should make this a thing. It should be like a patch or a shirt.
Exactly.
FNG of the week.
And we have Hall Pass, which double respect. And 3 weeks ago was an FNG and hasn't missed a single day since at JUCO. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday for 3 weeks. So that's a strong start.
And double respect means 60 plus, just so everyone knows. Like it's
exactly
60 plus, you get respect at the COT. So this guy crushing it in his 60s. Man, proud of you.
Exactly. Recently joining F3, and the guy's already going all gas, no brakes. That's
right.
A, G,
and B.
Yeah, that's impressive. I started like basically just by showing up on Saturday, so guys got me beat.
If I can do this in my 60s, I feel like that's a pretty good win.
That's
I'll
the
just
goal.
say that now.
That's the goal right there. So T-Claps to Charmin and Crab Legs, they provided pancake and bacon breakfast for their AO after the July 4th beatdown. So, all right. I want to know what AO was that, because I do not know them. And when is the next time we're going to have pancake and bacon there? Because I'm in. Count me in for that.
Hey, if you want to provide pancakes and breakfast, if you're listening out there, you want to just come to one of our workouts and provide breakfast, you are free to do that. Please let one of us know. We'd love to have
Exactly. And T-Claps to the guys who have been doing OTBs, off the book workouts, for those of you who do not know, at their newest AO location, McPhee Park. So OTBs are a great way to start exploring new locations and testing out places for a new AO. And soon you're going to hear more about it, but we are in a phase of thinking about planting new AOs. So
that's right.
Awesome to have that going. And T-Claps to all the men who represented F3 Knoxville by running, walking, or rucking the Farragut Freedom Run. That includes you, Steam. You were there, right?
Dude, I brought my M and our new puppy and the in-laws. I mean, it was fun. We had about probably 15 F3 guys there and their families. I probably closer to 20. I saw some guys in the Farragut July 4th parade too, and so it was fun. I mean, it was a great way to get a lot of exposure for F3. A lot of people asked about the shovel flags, asked what F3 was. So really easy conversation, to get some interest out there. So it was a fun time. So yeah, T-Claps, all those guys and their families, they came out and repped
awesome.
F3 well.
You and your Emma and your puppy were wrecking it, right?
That's right. That's right, man. We wanted to make sure she got as tired as possible so we could leave her at home before we went to the lake later.
I can understand that. I can understand that initiative.
Awesome.
As the owner of a very excited puppy, I get that very well. All right. So what key dates do we have coming along, Steam?
Man, we have some cool things coming down the pike for us. So if you did not know, we do have a SLT, a shared leadership team in F3 Knoxville that includes all of your AOQs, the guys that are managing or really stewarding the workout location here in F3 Knoxville. It also includes your regional leaders in F3, such as your first, second, third FQs, your comms Qs, guys that lead some of our teams in F3 Knoxville. So we have a SLT meeting on the 13th. What we like to kind of talk about with this, which OnStar, I know we're both a part of that. This is an opportunity for us to share any feedback with the SLT and say, hey, here's what's working. Here's some great ideas that came up through workouts this week. It's also just a time for us to really pray over our region, to plan events that are coming up, to talk a little bit about how we can better plant, grow, and serve, not just workouts, but plant, grow, and serve and enable men to lead well in F3 Knoxville. So pretty pumped about that and that team that's going to get together later this week. We have F3 in the Nude updates. So every week we're going to be giving you just a little bit more of an update on F3 in the Nude. So here's what we know now. It is going to be July 29th at 7 a.m. It's going to be at the Cove at Concord Park in Farragut. And you are not going to want to miss this. And here's the hint for this week. Because trust me, we get a lot of questions about F3 in the Nude. Are you sure this is an event that you want to do? What does this event even mean? And we love those comments and questions. And you and I, we're finding out about this just like everyone else. We know where we're getting this info, right?
Yep. Kickflip and the other guys who are in the know have been pretty good at keeping this in the hush hush.
Yes, they have. And here's what we know this week. This is one F3 workout that you will not need gloves or a shirt. Okay. So do not bring gloves, do not bring a shirt. That's all we know. I mean, that's all we have to go off of right now.
All right. Well, let's wait for next week and see what comes along. Yeah.
Come on next week. Come on for your next, your next F3 in the Nude update. It's going to be a great event, y'all. I mean, it really is. And we're excited to learn more, just like you guys. So second thing, we talked a lot about it, or third thing, we talked a lot about it last week on the podcast on our weekly launch point So check it out there for more content. But we have something really cool called F3 Knoxville Dads Camp happening August 11th through 13th at the YMCA Camp at Coe. This is a great opportunity for F3 dads and their kids to engage in a adventure-filled, purposefully intentional weekend together. We have 2 guys that are leading the charge here in F3 Knoxville on this, Full House and Gibbler. You can reach out to them, Full House and Gibbler on Slack if you have questions. I know they'd love to get guys connected, especially if you have kids in F3. It's a great opportunity to bring them around other high impact men and their kids, and just have some great fitness, fellowship, and faith, obviously, with your kids for that weekend.
All right.
Yeah. Then a couple more things. So, like you mentioned before, Onstar, some of these guys are doing OTBs at a park called McPhee Park. It's in the deep Farragut, the heart of Farragut, really. This is a launch point from one of our AOs, actually the furthest West Knoxville AO, called the Truck Stop. Used to meet off of Watt Road at Bob Leonard Park out there. They have actually moved to McPhee Park. And the whole reason for this, or one of the reasons for this, I should say, is to get more guys in the Farragut area. There's a very, very high population of families out there, guys out there, to come out and join F3 and be a part of that. A lot of those guys already live out there, so it kind of just makes sense to engage in that way. And I actually queued at McPhee Park a couple weeks ago. My father-in-law came. It was great. So shout out to Big Fob. But it really is a beautiful park. There's a lot to do there, a lot of trails, a lot of green areas. So it's really a cool place. I'm excited to see how F3 grows in that area of Knoxville too.
Yep. So if you're in Farragut, got friends around that region, around that area, want to bring them to F3, there's a new opportunity.
That's right.
McPhee Park, Saturday mornings, 6 a.m. So drag an FNG there if you can.
Just put them in your car. It's not kidnapping if you
exactly.
tell them about F3 first.
Exactly. If you at least tell them what's going on, maybe promise them a breakfast, promise them some pancake and bacon. Right. Who knows? Could work.
Yeah. Whoever made those pancake and bacon. So all you Asylum AM guys, feel free to just do a tour around F3 Knoxville and bring that. There you go.
All right. So a couple of weeks ago, we had the first part of the state of the region where we discussed, part of the SLT discussed what happened in F3 Knoxville from January up to the end of June, taking a look back at the first half of the year. You can see it now already on YouTube. It's been posted on the podcast. Now we have available on YouTube, and it will soon be available here as well. Right, Steam?
Yes. You thought part 1 was good. Wait till part 2.
We're going to have part 2 where we discussed what we're hoping to do for the region in the next maybe 6, maybe 9 months. What are the plans that the SLT has? Where are we looking to move forward? What is already down the pipeline? What is still being discussed? What are the ideas we have? So watch and listen. Check it out so you can know maybe where you can help us, or if you have any suggestions, maybe you will find out that we're already doing something you want to do or something you're interested in. You're going to see that, as I mentioned a little bit ago, we're talking about planting new AOs. We're talking about expanding. That's one of the things we discussed. We discussed what we're going to be doing in terms of fitness, fellowship, and faith, and all of the initiatives that we have coming up. So it was a very, very good conversation. Me, Steam, and our Nantan kickflip. So don't miss it, so you can be in the know and be ready for what's coming. We did a lot of great things in the last 6 months, and we hope to do even more in the months that are coming up.
That's right. We're turning 8 this year, if you didn't know. As a region, this is going to be our 8th year of being in Knoxville. So there'll be some really cool things happening later this year with that.
Yep. And if you start to think about it, it's pretty good growth that we have had already in 8 years. So let's keep it going. And here's to 8 more.
Absolutely. Come on.
All right.
Well, we have two challenges that are actively happening in July, a first F challenge and a third F challenge. And these challenges are meant to obviously challenge you, but to really empower you and spur you on in your first F efforts, your third F efforts, and then also just between those two, your second F efforts with fellowship and how we cultivate relationships here in F3 between our fitness and our faith. So, so the first F challenge, OnStar, I'm going to let you take that because you're our first FQ. You know how to share this a little bit more, and then I'll talk a little bit about our third F challenge.
We covered it already on the last podcast, and you can see it in the first F channel. But basically, the idea is to work on flexibility and mobility. Not a lot, not a huge thing. You don't need to go see a physical therapist or have a whole new stretching routine. Just 10 minutes a day working on some part of your body you feel could be better. Maybe stretching your back, maybe working on your knees like I'm doing, maybe doing some exercises to improve ankle mobility, just something to help you prevent injuries or recover from any injuries that you might have. As we usually say in F3, I don't know your injuries, but you do. You certainly at this point know what you need to work on. So we encourage you to work on that. 10 minutes a day, then hit the muscle emoji just to show that you're into it and help encourage others. What about the third F? What are we doing this month?
Yeah, third F. So the challenge for this month is to have at least one time a week. So one time a week, have a conversation about spiritual truth, about your spiritual life, a spiritual struggle, or about a spiritual question you're struggling with. Essentially, have a spiritually driven, intentional conversation with another man in your life once a week this month. There's not really a framework for it has to be this way. You know your relationships and the conversations that you typically have. The key here is just to be intentional with those conversations. With being vulnerable. I know that's not always an easy thing that a lot of guys or people just want to engage in, but there's a lot of growth that happens because of that. And so the challenge for our third F is to bring something up, maybe in your spiritual life or in your faith, and have an intentional conversation with someone else in your life.
Yep. And F3 provides you lots of opportunities to do that. You could do that before a workout, after a workout, have a shield lock, do it during a ruck. There are lots of opportunities. Or just reach out to someone in your AO that you feel comfortable talking to and start a conversation. We need more of those. It's good for us as men, and it's a chance for us to grow and grow together.
That's true. One thing that kind of comes off of that too OnStar is we had the privilege and honor to hear from a speaker at our Convergence this past Saturday. His name is Rick Dunn. He's a local pastor, a author, a community leader, a speaker. You might know him or have heard of him from being the pastor of Fellowship Church here in Knoxville. But he said something that I wanted to just kind of tease out a little bit. He talked a lot about, we should be having these conversations with each other. We're so ingrained in this rhythm of working out together every week, right? And it'd be really easy to miss opportunities to come work out for 45 minutes, give a fist bump, a high five, and say, see you tomorrow, or see you in a couple of days, or miss an opportunity to have some of these intentional conversations, even if it's just about your fitness, or your fellowship or faith. I mean, all three F's really, but to have these conversations as men, we get a really unique opportunity to do that. And so he talked a little bit about that on Saturday, and it really made me think about some of the conversations I'm having, or maybe I'm not having, I need to have with guys I work out with every week, and just a, hey, what's your no BS assessment check-in this week? How are you doing this week? And just have that intentional conversation with guys that you're in proximity with, you're close with, and location you work out with, but don't miss it. Don't miss out on an opportunity to have that intentional conversation this week.
On that topic, we have as well our verse of the week for the 100 swords, committing 100 verses of scripture to memory. So the verse of this week is Proverbs 12:28. In the path of righteousness is life, in its pathway there is no death. So in the path of righteousness is life, and in its pathway there is no death. it certainly ties in very well with the idea of having a direction, having a target, having missionality, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. I mean, you think about the path you're on, or the path I'm on, the path we're on. Everyone is on a certain path, um, and when it comes to this path of righteousness, there's life to be found there, and it's probably a little bit of a lot of a harder path than say culture would tell you to take, right?
Yeah.
But there's life to be found there.
Yep. And it's funny to think, going again to the idea of sin being missing the mark, because Paul says in Romans that the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life through Jesus Christ our Lord. So you see the exact interplay between those ideas. The righteous path is the way to life, is the way to eternal life through our Lord. So just something to think about on, again, as you think about the questions of this week's questions regarding the QSource. Keep that verse in your mind. In the path of righteousness is life, and in its pathway there is no death.
Amen to that. Well, we have a interesting and cool episode coming out on Thursday from our Weasel Shaker of F3 Knoxville, Blindside. And he is going to talk a little bit, actually probably a bit, about this thing called the ghost flag. So we have a F3 Knoxville ghost flag. And so we don't want to give anything away. If you're at the Convergence, you heard a lot about this. You'll hear a lot about it on Thursday. But if you did not know, we have a logo as F3 Knoxville. And you can see it on our podcast. You can see it on our Facebook page or social media, right, on Slack. And so we have a flag with that logo that says "Send Me," and this is essentially going to be a traveling regional flag from AO to AO with some built-in challenges for guys from other AOs to go and take the flag from one AO to their AO. So he's going to dive into a lot more about that on Thursday. So be sure to check out that episode that drops Thursday with Blindside. But it's going to be a really, really cool thing to see how that flag travels around the region.
Exactly. For now, all you got to know is it's a traveling flag. There will be competition involving it. And right now, the guys at Shamrock have it, which is just fair. They hosted a Convergence. Sure. The flag was announced at the Convergence. So it's only fair. But we'll see how it progresses. And I'm really excited for this. I think this is going to be a fun addition to F3 Knoxville.
Yes, it will.
And speaking of our Weasel Shaker Blindside, he's also planning something very special for next weekend on July 15th. Is that correct? July 15th, Saturday. He's planning a ruck between AOs. So the idea is to start the ruck at Shamrock and move all the way to Asylum. So the idea would be we meet at 5:30 at Asylum daybreak. Clown car, meaning put as many men as possible in the same car. A few cars to Shamrock, where we will start off at around 5:45, step off from Shamrock towards the Asylum. It's a 10-mile ruck. You can bring any weight. If you don't want to ruck, just want to walk it, come along. We're not going to kick you out, I promise. And we're aiming for a pace between 15 to 17 minute mile. So want to join us? Come along. Blindside is planning doing a full-on ruck marathon at some point involving all the AOs in Knoxville. And this is what we're doing so far. This is the assessment of each route between AOs. So I'm going to be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. Come join us. There's a few other guys who have already committed or soft committed to it. If you want more information, check out either the Ruck channel on Slack or the Knoxville GTE 2024 channel. Both channels have the information about it. Or you can message me or Blindside. We will be doing this. It's it's going to be quite a bit of fun. It's going to be my first ruck over 6 miles. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be awesome. We were actually talking before we started recording. Rucking by yourself that's great. Like, good for you. If you ruck by yourself, and that's great training. But there's something about rucking with a group. Man, there's just energy there. 10 miles doesn't really seem like 10 miles. You're talking the whole time, or you're engaging in good conversations, and so it's gonna be fun. I wish I could be there, but if you can make it, I would strongly recommend doing that.
I can attest to this. We did a 3 mile ruck, pre-ruck for the convergence, and it was about 20 guys.
Yeah, dude, it's
and
big. Yeah.
The time flew by. We were done before we knew it. 3 miles, barely even felt it. So
that's right.
if you're thinking about doing any longer ruck, if you're preparing for grow ruck events or anything like that, this is a good chance to get it done. If you're in the Pathfinder program, good chance to either do one of the challenges or clock in 10 miles if you need more miles. So come join us.
Let's do it. Awesome. Well, be on the lookout for that episode that drops Thursday. And if you want to find us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, give us a rating. We'd love a 5-star rating. That'd be a great review to us. Still looking for that $1 million sponsor. If you want to sponsor Beyond the Cop, we would love to have you. But seriously, thank you for listening. Hope everyone has a great week. We're excited to get out there in the gloom and fake gloom for all you PM guys, and sharpen some iron this week. It's going to be great.
Yep. Excited to see you all. Excited to ruck with y'all. Oh, speaking of ruck, another thing that is good to highlight, Asylum PM. This week we have 2 workouts happening on Tuesday at the same time. We're going to have the regular workout and a ruck workout. So again, if you're in the Pathfinder program or preparing for any rucking events, another good chance to do some sandbag work, then do some ruck work. CRISPR is going to be leading it.
Yes.
And come join us. It's 5:45 p.m. at Asylum. So come join us if you want. And other than that, hope you all have a great week. And like Steam said, you want to sponsor us with $1 million? Great. If you don't, but you have an idea for the podcast, feel free to reach out to us. We're
also great.
That's also great. We're open to feedback and any suggestions. But till then, see you in the gloom or the fake gloom.
Aye.
All right. See ya.